Welcome to the Poke Report. I'm Curtis Quillen.
And I'm Amelia Henderson. First off, from all of us here at the Poke Report, we would like to express our deepest condolences to all of those affected by the tragedy this past weekend at the homecoming parade. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the families and friends of the victims and those still recovering. But despite this awful tragedy, OSU has proven that it is still loyal, still true, and still water strong.
As for the game itself, there was some discussion, but it went forward as planned. Jordan Bland recaps homecoming weekend.
It's homecoming, which means basketball is finally back. And this year's homecoming in hoops was bigger, louder, and more theatrical than ever. Coach Gunny made his usual pregame appearance. We got women's basketball coach Bill Annan hitting the quan. Travis Ford shows off his moves to Macklemore and Ryan Lewis's Downtown. Jeffrey Carroll warming up on a segue before the game. The wrestling team flipped into our hearts with their unforgettable striptease routine. The Plum Squad showed us what they had with this special performance in their dance number. The cheer team showed us why they're the reigning defending national champions. But most importantly, it was about the fans, the crowd, and of course, the fans. But most of all, we came to see the new and returning faces of the basketball teams. The women were up first, so let's see how they did. Senior Rodrigo Patton had herself a game. Cross-court pass to Alana Simmons, and she drains it from deep. Freshman Ginger Holt with the ball, stolen by Patton, and check out the moves between the legs as she flashes the athleticism. Across court, Holt with the ball again as the freshman shows off her range. A few plays later, the center, Kaylee Jensen, showing off her range too. Black team wins 29-28. The men were up next, and they certainly had no shortage of new faces. Very first play, freshman point guard Jawan Evans throws it to Anthony Allen, who gladly takes it down. On the other side, veterans Tyree Griffin and Leighton Hammonds connect on an alley-oop of their own. High-flying Jeffrey Newberry drops it down to no other than Mitchell Solomon. Look for him to have a bigger role this season. But no player's debut was as highly anticipated as Ibaka's, Igor Ibaka in fact, as Evan dishes home a pass that he sends home with a vicious slam. High-flying Devon Dillard slams one home with a mean 360. But Newberry says, hold up son, I've been doing this long before you with the 360 of his own. And of course, the deep threat, Phil Forte doing what he does best, automatic. Orange team wins 39-33. But less than 24 hours later, the flags would fly half-staff after the weekend's horrific tragedy. Before the game, the team made sure to take a moment to pray for all those lives affected by the morning's tragedy, as we all did. But on the football field, it was all business. 3 minutes into the game, J.W. Walsh would prance his way into the end zone untouched, no problem, Cowboys up by 7. Freshman quarterback Ryan Willis got his third start in a row this week for the Jayhawks, and the Cowboys had him scrambling out of the pocket early. Running, still running, no one open, and finally, Chad Whitener and Trace Clark were able to sit him down. Just under 3 minutes left, Walsh again stretches out wide, tags the pylon, and he's just getting started. Third down, Willis stuck in the pocket once more, nowhere to go. 3 Cowboy defenders eat him up. Next play, it goes from bad to worse. Matthew Wyman muffs the snap, tries to get it off, but Mike Tavius Jones with the block punt, and he wanted more. Jones picks it up and takes it to the house. Cowboys up 21-0. 2 drives later, Cowboys marching down the field. Jeff Carr takes her from Walsh 2 yards out, too easy. The true freshman gets his first touchdown of the season and some love from the UAB transfer Victor Saleko. Mason Rudolph said, don't forget about me, as he lays one to wide out James Washington. Oh my, just nasty one-handed, made it look way too easy. Cowboys up 35-3. Inside the 20s, J.W. Walsh could not be stopped. Here he goes again with another rushing touchdown. He runs the read option so well. Untouched again, the Cowboys got a lead and they just never looked back. The defense have been the anchors for the Pokes all season long as Ogbah puts pressure on the quarterback, allowing Seth Jacobs to get his second interception of the season. Walsh doesn't just run, he throws touchdowns too. This one goes to Chris Lacey from 6 yards out. Walsh plays for 5 touchdowns for just the 3rd time in his career, the last one coming 38 yards out to Chris Lacey again. The QB duo combined for 373 yards from the air on 25 of 36 passing and 6 touchdowns. Cowboys win big 58-10. For the Poke Report, I'm Jordan Bland.
Around the Big 12, the Oklahoma Sooners followed up a huge shutout victory against Kansas State with another rout, this time against Texas Tech 63-27.
Next, we move down to Austin, where the Longhorns got all they could handle from Kansas State, but ultimately were able to pull out the win 23-9.
One last game, the Baylor Bears cruised to a 45-27 win over the Iowa State Cyclones at home, but it came at a cost. Quarterback Seth Russell is done for the year with a neck injury. That's going to move us on to our picks now. Florida and Georgia are playing their annual rivalry game today in Jacksonville.
Try not to embarrass yourself too much this week, okay?
I'll try.
But this first pick, I'm going to go ahead and go with the Gators.
I agree with you there. I like Florida in this matchup. Texas is in Ames today to play Iowa State.
And Texas is just coming off a great win from last week, so I'm going to go ahead and go with the Longhorns.
Yeah, I don't see the Cyclones standing a chance in this one. And finally, the number 12 Pokes are in that tortilla wasting land known as Lubbock today.
This is always my easiest pick. Go Pokes.
I guess we're agreeing all the way around today because I have the Cowboys as well. Time now to move from the gridiron to the hardwood. Amelia?
Well, with basketball season right around the corner, the Big 12 held its media day this past week in Kansas City, and our very own Zach Baden was there to give us a closer look at the upcoming season.
Here's Morris. Morris, the shot to win it. Good!
6 months ago, we saw the Iowa State men's basketball team cut down the nets at the 2015 Big 12 Basketball Championship. Most heralded the strength of the conference last season, citing top RPI rankings and number of teams in the NCAA tournament. With 4 of the 5 All-Big 12 team returning this season, including Player of the Year Buddy Hield, many thought it would continue to be the most competitive league in the nation, despite Kansas winning its 11th consecutive regular season title.
The sprinter behind me usually represents the epitome of competition in the Big 12, but on Tuesday, instead of last-second Monte Morris three-pointers, it was all handshakes, high fives, and smiles as players, coaches, and media from around the Big 12 gathered to preview the 2015-16 season.
Oklahoma State was picked to finish 7th in the preseason poll after finishing 6th last year. Coach Travis Ford says that this year's team will look extremely different.
Except for Phil Forte, everybody's going to have a different role or they're brand new to the whole system. But we've seen improvement, which is always fun for a coach.
The pressure of replacing 3 senior starters didn't stop Coach Ford and the Cowboys from enjoying themselves. The Big 12 set up a social media lounge to connect with fans, and Ford certainly gets an A for effort on the emoji impression. Other coaches kept a lighthearted mood as well. For West Virginia's Bob Huggins, the event was more than just talking up his team. It was about making a fashion statement. Huggy Bear immediately turned heads sporting blue pants with embroidered West Virginia logos and wasn't shy about their origin.
I went to graduation. I had to do a little speaking thing at graduation, and President Gee came in with a pair of pants on like this, and I thought, boy, that's a great idea for media day. So I ordered me a pair.
The other major talking point across all programs was the substantial change in college basketball rules. Coordinator of officials Curtis Shaw says the re-implementation and expansion of the freedom of movement rules and the 30-second shot clock will significantly alter the game.
We somehow lost focus on the fundamental skills, and we're going to try to bring that back. We also understand this is going to be a painful process. The NCAA is doing a media blitz that'll come out as the season goes on, talking about we understand this could hurt early. This may look ugly at times, and it may take getting used to. But for the first time, they're willing to stomach it and live through it.
Ford said he was less concerned and didn't think the changes would be as drastic as conference officials had said.
You know, we've had referees come in twice already, but they weren't calling what I just heard. But they're learning too. It's not their fault at all. Everybody's learning.
Senior guard Phil Forte said the emphasis on calling illegal screens is challenging for a Cowboys offense to adapt to that depended so much on them last year.
We're going to have to work on the guy that has the ball is going to have to be really patient and wait for the screen to set, and the big man's going to have to make sure his feet are set in these screens. So, you know, that's something that's going to probably take time. I'm sure the refs are going to take some time for them to get used to it. It's going to take us some time to get used to it. So we're going to have to see how they call it, you know, and then kind of adjust from there.
Cowboys fans will have their first chance to see these rules in action in an exhibition against East Central on November 6th, and they open up the regular season at home with UT Martin on the 13th. For the Poke Report, I'm Zach Baden.
The Cowgirls soccer team was in action twice last weekend when they played host to 2 conference opponents, the West Virginia Mountaineers and the Kansas Jayhawks, and Jarrett Stafford recaps that weekend.
The Cowgirls soccer team had a pair of home conference games lined up for homecoming weekend. The first was a formidable one as the 3rd-ranked West Virginia Mountaineers came to town. The scoring opened up in the second half when Carla Portillo put the Mountaineers on the board. The Cowgirls answered just 5 minutes later when Allie Stevenson set up Nikki McKnight beautifully to tie it up. The game would go to overtime, but not for long as Kaylee Utley sealed the deal for the Mountaineers 2-1. The second game of the weekend came with a bit more motivation following the homecoming tragedy.
Our kids were a little bit upset, as you would imagine, but you know, they were able to channel things and you know, just try to as a team, as a community. You know, we were playing for the seniors, we were playing for ourselves, but I think we were also playing for, you know, the community and the OSU family.
The motivation showed in a game against the Kansas Jayhawks that was physical to say the least. The teams combined for 29 fouls in the game. The Cowgirls prevailed in the scoring department, with Madison Mercado and Nikki McKnight both netting first-half goals on Senior Day. The Jayhawks put more shots on goal, but came up empty on the afternoon. The Cowgirls have one final game against the Sooners before starting conference tournament play. For the Poke Report, I'm Jared Stafford.
Coming up on the Poke Report, we preview the Big 12 Cross Country Championships. I sit down with defensive end Emanuel Ogbah, and then we'll hear a triumphant story about the voice of the Cowboys. Stay with us.
Are you looking for the right gear to support your Cowboys, but are unsure of where to begin? Maybe you're looking for a shirt or a hat, or a sweatshirt, or perhaps you're looking for just some OSU souvenirs to liven up your home or workspace. Whatever your need is, Hall of Fame Book Trader has you covered. With a large selection of poke apparel, every member of the family is sure to find what they need. So why hassle with anywhere else? Come by Hall of Fame Book Trader today and let us set you up in America's brightest orange.
Welcome back to the Poke Report. I'm Amelia Henderson alongside Curtis Quillen. Today, Oklahoma State will host the Big 12 Cross Country Championships.
The men's team is ranked 6th in the country and looks to win the event for the 7th consecutive year. Bill Lynch sits down with Coach Dave Smith to preview today's meet.
OSU football is not the only Cowboy team going undefeated this season. This weekend, OSU will host the Big 12 Cross Country Championship in Stillwater. Both the OSU men's and women's cross country team will go into this weekend undefeated. I spoke to OSU's director of track, field, and cross country, David Smith, about the Cowboys' successful regular season.
It's been a great start to the year. First time it's ever happened, both men and women going undefeated to the regular season. Kind of ready for the championship part of the season now.
Now, OSU is currently ranked number 6 in the nation according to the NCAA, and I think a lot of that has to do with some spectacular Cowboy athletes, specifically Sirach Geber-Kadon, who has finished the last 3 matches in first place.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. He's a true sophomore. You know, last year he was our prized recruit. We knew he was going to be a big-time athlete at some point. I think, you know, the transition from high school to college distances, and also I think dealing with the fact that he couldn't just go out there and rely on his talent to be the best guy around, kind of upset his apple cart a little bit, and he wasn't running at the level he is now. Now he's adapted, he's adjusted, he's ready for, you know, kind of the intensity of collegiate races, and he is on a roll.
Yes, and on the women's side is Ingeborg Lubness, who has actually done very, very well consistently throughout the regular season.
Ingeborg is really our leader and the one we expect to be there every time, and got a great supporting cast. And on any given day, I think there's 5 or 6 girls on our team that could be the #1 runner, but Ingeborg's the one you'd kind of pick each race.
I went to the course to speak to OSU's top men's and women's runners, Sirach Geber-Kadon and Ingeborg Lubness.
In particular, you're changing just for this competition?
Well, for the Big 12s, it's important. So we will slightly back off on our mileage just a little bit, not too much because we still are training for nationals, and regionals is, you know, peak for this race, but just to like back off a little bit where you're not feeling really tired and fatigued.
Yeah, and the intensity in the workouts we're gazing down on that as well.
Because really at this point there's nothing you can really gain, you know, training wise, because you're in the shape that you can best be in.
Well, I have a challenge for you guys. I've heard this course is difficult, and I kind of want to see for myself.
Our course is one of the most challenging courses in NCAA. I think most athletes that come here when they're done, they say that was the toughest course I've ever run. And there's definitely some, I don't know if it's home field advantage, definitely being familiar with the course. If you've run it a few times, you learn how it runs, you know what to expect. If you haven't seen it before, boy, those last few turns and hills can be just soul crushing. I think, you know, the women have never won a Big 12 championship before, and it would be great to have our first Big 12 title come on our home course. I think both teams are pretty excited for the possibilities this weekend.
I almost had you guys at that 4th mile.
You're close, my friend. You're very close.
For the Poke Report, I'm Bill Lynch. Medic.
In previous weeks, you've seen me catch up with OSU athletes from both basketball and baseball, but this next interview is one you will not want to miss. Check it out.
Gets the snap, back to pass, under pressure, and he's sacked, eaten alive by Emanuel Ogbah.
Big. intimidating. Powerful. These are the words that describe Emanuel Ogbah on the field. But what many people don't know is the beast off the field. So I just want to know a little bit about your background. Tell me about where you're originally from.
Well, I was born in Lagos, Nigeria.
And how long did you live there?
I lived there for 9 years because I came here at the age of 9. So
That person keeps close with what's most important to him, and that's family. So are you really close to your family? Tell me a little bit about your family life.
I'm very close to my family. You know, family means a lot to me. You know, I'm all about family, and we try to FaceTime, like either once or twice a week.
What's good, bro?
What's good, man? How you doing?
Good, bro. How you been?
I've been pretty good, you know, just out here working hard, just like usual, you know.
Just seeing them, it really makes me happy, gets me prepared for games and stuff like that. So family means a lot to me.
I miss you, bro.
I miss you too, man.
Keep doing your thing, man. I love you, bro.
I love you too, man.
Alright, man. Take it easy, bro.
Alright, you too.
How do you think your parents feel, like your mom feels when you get a huge sack?
You know, it's a funny thing, because when I went home, you know, I'm just relaxing, just laying on the couch, and she would look at me. She's like, this is not the same person that I see on the field. It's like you're a whole different person on the field, so it's actually a crazy feeling, you know. That's why when I like look back on videos and like on films, I see myself like, wow, did I really do that?
Ogbah's personality is not always somber, and nowhere is that more evident than his modes of transportation.
Well, I really have two modes of transportation. One is my dependable truck, and the other is my scooter. So.
And why did you get a scooter out of all things?
I mean, you know, people say we're athletes, we're not supposed to be lazy, but I mean, I really got it just to park closer to campus.
So you just use it for more as convenience?
Yeah, yes, that's why I use my scooter for more convenience.
What does it mean to you to be a Cowboy?
I mean, it means a lot to me. You know, it's a lot of pride that goes into it. You have to be the best you can be. You have to be a good leader. You have to set a great example for younger people. You know, you like when people look up to you, it's like a great feeling. You know, you have to like step up and show them why they should look up to you, and you can't like do anything wrong. You know, just be the best you can be for them.
What's your favorite thing to do outside of football?
Oh, I love playing Madden and Call of Duty, so that's my favorite games to play. So.
Oh! 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 Where you at? Where you at? Okay. Okay.
I played Madden with my friend Victor Salako. He plays offensive lineman for us. When I get a sack in Madden, it's like, that's what I do on the field. That's what I like, talking trash.
Sack! That's what I do! That's what I do! Sack, boy! Yeah!
What's your favorite part about OSU other than the football?
You know, just the family environment. You know, it's not like any other colleges. You know, everybody here is pretty close. You know, it's just family atmosphere. That's what I really like about it.
But don't ever confuse his fun-loving side off the field with the beast inside him on the field.
The quarterback, it's like I would look him in the eye. You know, after like I beat him on a certain play, I would just look him in the eye and just like look at what they're like, kind of looking in their soul. So I'm just like stare at them, and that kind of makes them panic. You know, sometimes that's how you draw offsides penalty, because they don't know what to expect. They try to jump set you. They think you're coming with like a bull rush or something. So that's what I usually do sometimes.
As many of you may know, Larry Reece has endured quite the battle this past year. Our own Elizabeth Bauer and Lucas Messina had a chance to sit down and hear his story straight from the voice of the Cowboys.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great day in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Are you ready for Cowboy football?
Larry Reese's voice is that voice in your head.
Rely on the voices of others to get him through one of the most trying times in his life.
Well, in a cruel twist of fate now, Larry Reece is battling throat cancer.
He's currently in the biggest fight of his young life.
Yeah, I was worried about it, yeah. So.
Well, you sound great.
Well, I appreciate that.
It's true, it sounds...
There's a story behind that I'll share with you.
Here comes Bullet!
Close to him, you know, he kind of epitomizes what Oklahoma State's all about, Oklahoma State football's all about, and you know, he really just, you know, he's the most positive, influential person, you know, that I met really in that organization. You know?
And I just fell in love with Stillwater. It immediately felt like family to me, and it was home. And about 10 minutes on campus, I realized I didn't like crimson. I didn't like those Sooners, and orange became my favorite color. And so I moved here in 1989 and have been a diehard Cowboy ever since.
So you knew, even though you wore red, you bleed orange.
I was just misguided as a youth, wearing the wrong colors. You know, that can happen to you in a small town in Oklahoma, but I quickly discovered that my true passion was all things orange and Oklahoma State, and this is just a tremendous place. I mean, you talk about a place that feels comfortable, a place that immediately felt like my extended family, and then, you know, when you go through a scare like I've had in the last year, you really realize how strong your OSU family is.
Reese decided to stop ignoring what his body was telling him and went to the doctor for what he disguised as his annual physical. After running normal blood work and getting the all clear from the doctor, Reese finally revealed his true intention for the visit.
You know, so he's giving me all kind of grief that my numbers look better than his, and I said, well, I appreciate that. Sounds like things are good, and I said, but what about this?
For months, Reese had been neglecting a swollen lymph node on the left side of his neck. Days after his visit with the doctor in Stillwater, Reese had the lymph node removed.
Finally, that Monday, he called me and we went in and he said, well, I was hoping it was an infection, but it's not. He said, you have cancer. And we found that the cancer was in my throat. You know, throat cancer was always in the back of my mind, my biggest fear, because I'd always been able to, you know, for 25 years I've been using my voice here for my alma mater, and I have so much fun on game days, whether it's football or basketball, and I just thought, man, what if that's taken away from me? My wife and I made the decision that we needed to reach out to our #1 fan here at Oklahoma State, and that's Boone Pickens.
What was your reaction to Larry's diagnosis?
How can I help? I had access to the hospital. Larry had a problem, and so it was one telephone call, and, you know, we go to work.
I'll tell you the story the first day I got there, and you're nervous and you're still wondering what the future holds for you. And before my lead doctor came in, a nurse named Jancy from the Middle East, she's from India. She came in and she could just tell I was a little on edge, I think. I'm sure she has a sixth sense about that. And she grabbed my hand and she looked right in my eye and she goes, you know you will be healed. And you talk about music to your ears when you hear that, because that was the first time I had been told I was going to be okay.
On April 10th, Larry Reese rang the bell at MD Anderson declaring his victory over cancer treatments. And only months later, he was declared cancer-free.
Reese attributes his defeat over cancer to the many members of what he calls his prayer posse, but one OSU faithful coined a phrase that would help to rally the troops in orange.
A mailman here in town, an OSU mailman, Tim Bays, who I didn't really know, but I kind of put it out on Twitter that I had a cancer diagnosis. All Tim Bays did was, I hope I don't tear up here, he created a hashtag that just said, I ride with the voice. And that became kind of the signature hashtag, whether it was Facebook or it was Twitter or it was shirts that were created by my OSU family.
It really hit me hard, you know, that he's going to need us, you know, the Cowboy Nation more now than ever.
Just remarkable for, you know, Tim Bays to come up with that, and then it was a great way to show support for me.
You know, at the time, everybody was using I Ride with the Cowboys as a hashtag, and Larry Reese is, of course, the voice. You know, he's a legend, so I Ride with the voice just made sense.
I just really felt like the entire OSU family put their collective arms around me. And
the entire Oklahoma State family was there for him, and I think everybody had his back. So it was a positive outcome, and you know, we're all happy for him.
Coach Gundy called to check on me that week, and I told him, I said, you scored too many points, you know, I'm gonna be hoarse at halftime. And Coach Gundy put it in perspective. He said, you know, that'd be a pretty good problem to have. I said, that's a good point.
The voice of the Cowboys, but role he plays with the athletic department, and everybody knows him. He's a big part of Oklahoma State and Oklahoma State athletics.
I think having cancer just made me, I've always appreciated life and felt very lucky and blessed to be at Oklahoma State, to have a beautiful wife and a beautiful daughter. And I don't think I've taken life for granted, but I've really honed in on enjoying life and everything about life. And so walk around will be special for me this year. And anytime I see somebody in a I Ride with a Voice shirt or one of the wristbands, I thank them, because it still to this day means a lot to me and my family, and will always mean a lot to us.
Well, that wraps up this week's edition of the Poke Report, but be sure to tune in next week as we recap today's game and catch up with Vili Lavini.
On behalf of all of us at the Poke Report, I'm Curtis Quillen.
And I'm Amelia Henderson. And as always,
Go Pokes.
Thank you for watching.